After an exciting week one, Bryce and I are here to recap what went on during a really fantastic week. I think I read a stat earlier this week that 4 teams had comebacks of 10 points or more.
And a lot of other teams came back and won.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. To add to that, a lot of other teams came back from big deficits and made it close and made good games late. It was it was kind of the weekend, a weird first weekend of let's build up a huge lead and then just forget about it in the fourth quarter and have teams almost come back on it.
Well, it's week one, so let's talk about the Monday night games. Start with the late game on Monday night, which I'm sure you stayed up for, right?
No, it didn't start till 11. Who the hell cares? The Cardinals and why? I mean, I understand it's two West Coast teams playing at 10 o'clock. It's kind of cool for them because it's late at night. West Coast viewers don't usually get a technically night game for them, so that was cool. But nobody on the East Coast, where everybody who lives matters, cared.
Chargers win this one. Actually, come back with 12 points in the fourth quarter to win 18-17.
Chargers.
Cardinals. Excuse me, my bad. 18-17. Cardinals beat the Chargers at home. Like I said, needed 12 fourth quarter points to actually come back and win the game. The first Monday night game was actually over within the first quarter. As soon as Matt Stafford hit the 67-yard touchdown pass to Calvin Johnson, dagger. Yeah. It was done.
At one point in the game, Calvin Johnson had like 6 receptions, 2 touchdowns, and 150 yards. Or it was something just insane, some crazy stat.
Let's just put it this way: Calvin Johnson had 7 catches, 164 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. The entire Giants team had 18 receptions.
Ooh, all right.
163 yards, which is 1 fewer than Calvin Johnson. Yeah. And it was just, I don't understand how one person can have more than the entire team on the other side.
Well, the other team had Eli Manning throwing to him.
That's true.
Who did throw 2 or 3 picks this game and looked like he picked up right where he left off last season.
That's true. Giants lose this one big, 35-14. They had, I think, a bull crap touchdown in the fourth quarter, but whatever.
You didn't want to say crap.
I didn't. Let's talk about one of the most exciting games all week. 24-31. Colts lose to the Broncos, but it was a really solid game.
Andrew Luck, who I believe leads the NFL in comeback wins the past 2 seasons. Tried to do it against his I don't want to say arch nemesis or rival, but kind of his counterpart or his doppelganger, if you will, in Peyton Manning. Peyton and the Broncos go out with that new revamped defense. They added a lot of stuff in the offseason, built up a huge lead, and almost gave it away at the end. Almost let the comeback kid come back and nip him in the bud like they did last year. But Peyton and that team held on.
Yeah, it was 24-7 at halftime. I mean, and at that point, Julius Thomas had already had three touchdown catches in the first half. I mean, and you were like, okay, this game's over. And then Andrew Luck decides to come back. But it was a close game. Like I said, Broncos win 34-21 or 31-24. Messing up the numbers tonight. I don't know what's up with me. 49ers beat your Cowboys handily, 28-17.
Yeah. Tony Romo threw 3 really bad interceptions in the first half. Yeah, and they weren't tipped at the line. They were all on Romo. Romo just missed his reads, and one time he threw into like quadruple coverage. And I don't know if this is going to be a fluke or if this is how Romo's going to play the rest of the season. He's gone. Him and Jason Garrett in the offseason, they're going to try to get rid of him.
Panthers win 20-14, even though the Buccaneers gave him a game late.
And no Cam Newsom for the Carolina Panthers.
No, they didn't. Patriots lose. Yeah, week 1. Patriots lose 33-20.
I wonder how much conditioning had to do with this. You're going down to South Florida. It's a Patriots team. Sure. You play and you practice, in the North America.
Northeast.
Northeast, yeah. And, it's a little bit cooler down there. You don't have the humidity. You don't have the heat. So I wonder how much conditioning played into this game.
Well, you also have to look, and Brady did have his big receiver back in Gronk. Mm-hmm. But the Dolphins' defense just played phenomenal football this week. And
Brady said he will not retire until he is unable to play the game at the top of his level. So we probably won't see him next season. if he's honest and keeps his word.
And Noshawn Marino had 134 yards and a touchdown on the ground, and that's in his first game as a Miami Dolphin.
Went pretty well.
Yeah, I think they won well. Titans win 26-10. Beat the Chiefs at home. That was a shocker. I didn't think the Chiefs had it in them to lose that big at home.
I thought the Chiefs were going to be a competitor out there in the West, but if they lose at home to the hapless Titans, that's not going to bode well unless they turn it around.
Jake Locker, 22 of 33 for 266 yards and 2 touchdowns in the win. Redskins and Texans. Texans win. Bill O'Brien's debut as head coach. Jadeveon Clowney's out after the game, 4 to 6 weeks. That's a tough blow, but 17-6 is the final score. And Fitzpatrick actually had a decent game, 206 yards and a touchdown.
J.J. Watt looked like the monster man-child he is. I'm pretty sure he's not human.
When do you start, and if you're new head coach in Washington, when do you start looking, okay, RG3 is not our man anymore? When do you go to Kirk Cousins?
Never. As long as RG3 is healthy, you never go to Kirk Cousins. As long as RG3 is healthy and has his mind where it needs to be, he has way more ability and way more upsides than Kirk Cousins will ever have. Kirk Cousins will be a nice, serviceable quarterback in the NFL. He will never be what RG3 is capable of being.
I'm going to hold that tape for a couple years down the road when Kirk Cousins actually gets a starting job and shows out.
No way.
In one of the most exciting games, the Bills beat the Bears 23-20.
Not Bears.
The Bears defense just looked like
I loved every bit of this game. I hate you, Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler threw for 349 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And a loss.
Yep. And the winning quarterback threw for 173 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I just sometimes you can't just look at stats and go, okay, that team had to have won. And because obviously, I mean, if you said that Jay Cutler was going to throw for 349 and 2 touchdowns, I would have said the Bears won by like 2 touchdowns.
Apparently, Janelle Hill, the stats do lie.
Oh,
wow. Coming out of ESPN.
We're going to be shut down next
we don't get fired. Hey, is our
legal department?
Our legal department back active this year?
Kind
Did we
of.
bring that out? We're going to need it. Especially now that I'm back.
Bengals win on the road in Baltimore, 23-16.
They really beat them down.
This game was actually really interesting because it didn't seem like the Ravens actually came back late.
Yep.
And then somehow the Bengals
really hit the ground running early on in the season and put it to the Ravens, who kind of shorthanded,
You're going to go there?
Yeah, they were shorthanded. The Ravens? Yeah.
How so?
They didn't have their running back, Ray Rice.
Oh, okay.
They're number one.
We'll talk on Ray Rice here in a second.
We'll
Jets win against the Raiders. That was no surprise. Raiders have this horrible record going across the country and playing on a 1 o'clock game. 19-14 was the final score. Jets win. Eagles, 34 unanswered points in the second half.
Yeah.
To come back and win against the Jaguars, who were up 17-0.
The Jaguars looked good in the first half of the game. I was watching a little bit of it, catching a little red zone of it. The Jaguars 17-0, right? They were up on the Eagles, and I was liking what the Jaguars were doing. It wasn't a fluke game. It wasn't a fluke 17-0 up on the Eagles. And then I realized the Jaguars really came and played the second half. It's the Jaguars who have been the Jaguars for the past 10 years. The Jaguars.
Yeah. 34-17 final score. Like I said, 34 unanswered points in the second half.
I forget they're a team a lot of the time. When I'm talking about NFL, I honestly forget the Jaguars are a team.
Speaking of teams that Bryce forgets that they're a team, the Browns actually had it. They had it in this game. And then the Steelers just...
if they had the right quarterback starting, then the Brownies probably would have won this game.
Oh, please. Seriously, Bryce, you're gonna go with Johnny Football.
Johnny Cleveland.
Johnny Cleveland.
It's Johnny Cleveland now. And yes, I will go with Johnny Cleveland over Brian Boyer Hoyer any day of the week.
Steelers win on a late field goal, 30-27. I mean, this game was just back and forth constantly.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger threw for 365 yards.
It's a
Big
battle.
Ben threw for 365.
It's a battle between two teams that are going to be battling for that division. The division is wide open. You got the Bengals, the Brownies, the Steelers, and the Ravens. I mean, can you tell me any four of those teams are better than any of the other? I mean,
Bengals.
I don't see the Bengals as being substantially better than the Steelers, the Ravens, or the Browns. I think they might be a better stat-wise team on paper, but putting them on the gridiron in a neutral site, I don't know if I would choose the Bengals to win over one of the other teams any more than I would another team.
The play of the game, though, was Antonio Brown and just drop kicking.
Yeah.
The punter.
This is Pittsburgh. That was pretty amazing.
Vikings win big against the Rams in St. Louis, 34-6.
NFC North. That's all I have to say this year. Watch out for the Vikings. They're going to compete with the Packers to win that division.
Matt Castle, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. Peterson ran for a buck 2 and had a touchdown as well.
What a down game.
Yeah, for Peterson, no kidding. And another one of the really exciting games this week, the Falcons versus the Saints.
Mm-hmm. Very good game.
I mean,
rivals opening up Sunday, first game of the week. First game of the year for both teams in the dome.
It was with 2 minutes left to go in the first half. The Saints were up 20-7, and I'm like, here we go.
Yep,
again.
here we go again.
And then
the 3-13 season.
Thank God, Matt Ryan drove down the field, got a field goal late, and then that brought momentum back to our side.
Over 400 yards.
448, which is a franchise record. Threw for 100. He had his 156th career touchdown, which made him the now franchise leader in touchdowns. Matt Ryan had a career day and ended up, when the Saints went up with 1:14 left in the fourth quarter.
If you're a Falcons fan, you did what you needed to do for this season to be successful. You have to be, you only got 2 matches. Really, the Falcons' seasons can be, looked at upon how they do against the Saints.
Sure.
If you beat the Saints at home, that's what you're supposed to do in a good season. So we'll see what they got in store with them.
34-37 final score. Falcons win in overtime.
Fantastic game.
Oh, it was incredible.
One of the only games I actually watched on Sunday. I was too depressed.
Thursday night, it was the first game of the year. Seahawks came out in dominating fashion, 36-16. Rodgers looked mortal.
9 points. You're a jackass.
Wilson looked like Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Richard
Sherman, I don't believe, had one ball thrown his side.
Not a single pass thrown his side. 36-16 was the final score. That's it for our recap. We are going to touch on the Ray Rice story. Just as a father, as a husband, and you as a future husband. I mean, that has to sicken you.
Yeah, absolutely. You see a man put his hands on a woman in that way. I mean, it's just, there's no excuse for that, and there's no place for that in the NFL. And it's like I was talking to somebody today at work. It's not, the NFL doesn't have a Ray Rice problem. The NFL has a domestic violence problem. I mean, you see domestic violence after domestic violence case, and the NFL just doesn't care because it doesn't impact the wallet.
Yeah, why are we looking at, and Roger Goodell came out, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and said that, from now on, domestic violence cases are going to be 6-game suspensions. Why? Why aren't we kicking these bastards out of the NFL?
I agree. Then there is a second offense is a lifetime ban. Second offense is a lifetime ban. But what I don't understand is, why is the NFL lying? The NFL said originally they did not receive the tape.
That came out Monday.
Late Monday. Did you see the report that came out about 30 minutes before I got here?
Yeah.
That said the NFL had the elevator tape in April.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Ray Rice should never be allowed back in the NFL. And I think Roger Goodell should step down. I mean, he has really screwed the pooch on this one. And it's not Josh Gordon getting busted for pot. It's not Michael Vick getting busted for, violence against animals, which is horrible. This was another human being. I mean, this is a running back. This is one of your premier running backs in the NFL. This is a solidly built human being just sucker punching a woman.
And the thing that I agree with you that I think Roger Goodell should at least, if he doesn't step down, he should be let go. I think the owner should actually look into this. But you have to look at it. Roger Goodell, his purpose in life is to protect the brand.
Right, absolutely.
And
he
right now,
failed
the brand is
miserably.
horrible.
Miserably.
Granted, the games this past weekend were phenomenal. The games itself are fine. What's going on at home is the issues that we're having right now.
And the big thing, Roger Goodell's platform that he ran on when being an NFL, wanted to be an NFL commissioner was, I'm going to be the judge, jury, and executioner. We're going to clean up the league under my supervision, and we're going to protect the shield. And I don't think he's done any of that. I think he's covered up 90% of what has happened and tried to sweep to the side anything that's bad happened. Mm-hmm. And one of the other things, you look at the NFL's push, and I know you've noticed this in the past couple of years, trying to capture the audience of the women. Mm-hmm. You have a bunch of ads with Gronk and Tom Brady and all these other attractive males, football stars on there, and you have all the women line of jerseys and clothing and commercials on there. They're really trying to capture the women's audience, and this might be irreparable damage to that cause.
It's definitely tough to watch. The video, if you haven't checked it out, it's on TMZ's website, and it's probably on YouTube by now.
Yeah, probably. It's very sickening, and it disgusts me that the NFL had this video, and if they didn't have the video, it amazes me that TMZ was able to get it when the NFL.
If they didn't, why the hell didn't they?
Yeah, why didn't they pursue this more? Why didn't the Baltimore Ravens pursue this more? Why when Roger Goodell met with the now wife of Ray Rice, why was Ray Rice sitting right next to her? Clearly, Roger Goodell does not understand domestic abuse and domestic violence. What's the word I'm looking for?
Cases?
No. Victims. Sorry. It's just I don't think you could have mishandled this more.
He definitely, for lack of a better term, fumbled the ball on this one. But that's it, guys, and we'll talk to you here shortly for our preview for week 2. And for Bryce, I'm Billy. Thanks, guys, for watching.